The UP FEF3 was a dual-service locomotive meant to replace the earlier mountain-type locomotives, or 482. The FEF stood for 484, which stands for 4 leading trucks, 8 driving wheels, and 4 trailing trucks. The FEF3 was the latest of the denominations, and that is the class of which number 844 consists within. These are the latest. They had most modern bearings in the valve gear and were most efficient at top speed and could easily pull trains up to 100 miles an hour. These were mostly used in merchandise service because even though they were very fast, they could not pull very much because they only had about 68,000 pounds of tractive effort, which was a lot, but considering, that they had the Bull Mooses and the Challengers, these were never really put on big freight and trains. So without further ado, we'll move on to the model itself.
Hey guys, so here we have the locomotive. This is not the right box, but it's still a nice box. Moving on, it's not really that important. Here's the model. It came with this cooling coil. But I looked on all over the interwebs, and I could not find a photo where I could see that. So and that might be from something else. I'm not entirely sure, but something interesting. So here's the classic UP centipede tender. You got the sound tools under there. You got this big bar, which basically keeps everything in check. You can see they all kind of move together. And this is your kind of basic UP tender. The only really interesting thing is there is like that Stoker shaft. Well, really, something that I noticed is, like, in this tender, doesn't really make a difference because you have all of this. That's about like 2 or 3 inches of really big space. But in more smaller engines, like, they do this, and it's kind of annoying because you have no room to put a decoder in. Then you have to put stuff over that, and it's kind of annoying in smaller engines. But on something this big, it doesn't really matter. And then here is the engine itself. This is I think a 1985 Key Sam Honks UP. It's unpainted, so it doesn't really have any of the fancy gearbox, but it's the same model, just it's not factory painted and has a different gearbox. Other than that, they're identical. This is a beautiful model. In the thumbnail, you can actually see, and behind there you can see the steam pipe, and there is flue detail. This just doesn't open all the way. And then it's also, these doors also open where you can see that cab. That seems like I don't know how you would paint that. I think you'd have to take this thing apart to paint it, but that's not really super convenient. For information, this model is for sale, or will be for sale soon, on eBay. At Charlie Roush is the seller name. So, well, if you guys see it and you want to make if anyone's interested in this, then you can just make an offer on eBay through eBay messages, and we can work something out. But what's interesting is these are actually pretty rare. They only made about 75 of this version, which was less than the factory painted version, because, even back in the 80s, it was still cheaper to get an engine factory painted than to have someone else paint it. Yeah, this is a pretty nice model. You can see that the rear trailing truck springs are working, and this is just a nice model. I compared it to the C&O J3A, and they're basically identical, size-wise. They're just a little bit different other thing, and it's interesting that this is just a beautiful engine, because I got this thinking I was going to use it for UP excursions, and then I just realized that this is too nice of a model to just kind of not run. I could invest that into other models, and I already did. Well, I'll talk about it in a different video, but yeah. And the elephant ears are detachable. I just don't want to spend a bunch of time detaching them, because that means I have to put them back on. because, these things really only seen with the elephant ears. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and then we'll move on. And yeah, if you're interested, it'll be for sale soon. Bye.